it's Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Antony.
Today is July 6th, and we're on pages 14 and 15. It's the book club article, and this month, we're talking about The Giver.
Yeah, 又到了我们好书俱乐部的单元咯。今天呢，我们要介绍的好书呢，叫做《记忆传承人》The Giver。这部呢小说它有被翻拍成电影，那到后面的话我们会简单的介绍一下这电影是由谁演的。
So the Chinese name sounds a little clearer to me than the English. The Giver. It's like, well, give what? In fact, I had never heard of this book. 我从来没有听过. And so when I saw the title, The Giver, I didn't know what we wanted to talk about. And so I think this Chinese name helps me understand a little bit better.
Yeah, 老师就提到说呢，事实上这个 title The Giver 在英文里面给的资讯并没有像中文记忆传承人那么多。那我自己当初看到这部片子的时候，我也是没有看过书哦，我就看到这个片子的时候，我觉得这好像蛮有意思的，因为它至少给我一些资讯，到底什么记忆，然后传承了什么，这样的话会比较清楚。
Okay, let's look at our subtitle before we jump into the article. Our subtitle today is Lois Lowry's novel is a classic for young people.
我们的 subtitle 呢就告诉你说，我们的作者叫做 Lois Lowry。好，这个作者的话，那个名字不是那么好发音，不过没关系，不要被他吓跑了哦。这个 subtitle 的意思就是路易斯·劳瑞的小说呢，是年轻人必读的经典。
Okay, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we got paragraph 1.Okay, friends, we are on pages 14 and 15. It is the show we call Enjoy English School, and we're starting paragraph 1. Lois Lowry's book, The Giver, was first published in the United States in 1993.
好，我们来看第一段的第一句话，他就告诉你了。我们的作者呢叫做 Lois Lowry。好 ，Lois Lowry's book The Giver was first published in the United States in 1993. 先告诉你说，他的书叫做《记忆传承人》，当初呢在1993年的时候，首次在美国出版了。
Don't forget, when we read a year in English, we say two numbers. Don't say 1993. That's very wrong. 1993. Anthony, what were you doing in 1993?
I think I was in junior high school.
Junior high school.
Right.
So I was 11 years old. I think I was in 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
没错。
We're old. This was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Don't say that. Don't remind me of that.
All right, let's look at our next sentence. The story is a work of dystopian fiction for children. Let me say this again. Dystopian fiction.
Dystopian fiction 就是这种反乌托邦的这种小说哦。那你可能有听过 utopia 这个字，好，在这个希腊文里面就是 no place 的意思，就是说太完美了，以至于好像就是没有这种地方。那这个 dystopian 这个 dystopia 呢？dys 这个地方就是不好的意思，所以说它这个地方讲的这种反乌托邦，就是告诉你说，你以为很美好的地方，其实事实上背后有一些很不好的事情、不公不义的事情正在发生。
Just like Anthony said, dys, that means it's something bad. Usually in English we see dis. 特别有关，就是 like when you go to the hospital or when you're sick. dis 这意思是It's no good.
像是disability， 好像这种字汇的话，就是 ability 是能力 ，disability 就是失能，或像说 honest 是很好、很诚实 ，dishonest 就是不诚实，所以那个 dys 也是 dis 的那种感觉，都是不的意思。
Dystopian fiction for children. That's my new rock and roll band. Doesn't this sound like a cool band name?
Yeah, 听起来很酷耶。
All right. So if I want to use English to talk about dystopian fiction for children, I'll say like dystopia is a nightmare world. There are a lot of bad things here. And the opposite of dystopian is utopian. utopia 加一个 n, utopian.
没错，所以这里的话，老师特别介绍了一下 dystopian fiction， 它这种意思好像像是一个很恐怖的地方，像噩梦一般的地方。如果说你有听过格列佛游记 The Governor's Travels， 好，你可能有听过，这也算是非常非常有名的 or maybe 1984, 好，乔治·欧威尔的1984都是这种反乌托邦是非常有名的经典作品。
I think 1984 is a great example, very famous example. Let's go to our next sentence. The word dystopian is used to describe an unfair society filled with great suffering.
好，我们来看下一句话，就告诉你说 the word dystopian， 它就告诉你说这个字呢 dystopian 这个字 is used to describe 是用来描述什么 an unfair society filled with great suffering， 好，是一个充满巨大苦难的一个不公平的社会。
All right, well, on that upbeat note, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got paragraph 2. Friends, we're back with Enjoy English School. We're on pages 14 and 15 today. It's day 1 of the book club, and we're talking about The Giver. This is a book about a dystopian society. It's a nightmare world that is not really a great place. Let's learn more. The main character of the story is a 12-year-old boy named Jonas who lives in a community of sameness.
好，我们来看第二段，知道更多的资讯哦。他就告诉你说了 The main character of the story, 原来这段要介绍我们的主角了 is a 12-year-old boy named Jonas. 我们的主角叫做 Jonas, 好，乔纳斯 who lives in a community of sameness. 好，他这边的话告诉你说他住在一个社区，这个社区叫做 sameness。 好，这个 sameness 我第一次看到的时候我想说这个是什么东西啊？原来是 the same 的那个 same 加上 ness， 他住在一个叫做童话的社区里面。
That's right. When we have a word ending in 结尾 ness, number 1 它发 nis 不是 nas, nis, and it's a noun. You can write in your magazine 拿出来你的圆珠笔画一条线在 nis 下面，写下来 noun so you don't forget. Now, community is a very nice word. Anthony already translated it. I always tell students to practice the word neighborhood in my classroom. It's a word we talk about a lot in English. I don't really hear it a lot here. I do hear the word community. Neighborhood is a little tricky, but we use it a lot in English. Neighborhood is spelled N-E-I-G-H-B-O-R-H-O-O-D. Neighborhood.
提到社区的话，我们常常会提到 neighborhood 这个字。那在这边的话有一个 community 也是社区的意思。那如果说今天提到是网络上的那种社群的话呢，我们也可以使用 community 这个字来表达哦。
Yeah, we won't use neighborhood here. That's a great example. Let's go to our next sentence. In this community, there is no diversity, color, or climate.
好，再接下来他就告诉你说 in this community 在这个社区里面 there's no diversity 你可以说 diversity or diversity 都可以这边的这个 diversity 的意思呢就是多样性在这个 community 这个 community 都叫做 sameness 你可以想到说大家都一样对不对好没有所谓的多元性 color or climate 每一个人都是一样的好颜色啦气候啊都是一样的好奇妙
There is no pain But also no joy.
哇，他说没有痛苦是没错，但是呢也没有快乐。
So this, I was thinking about this and it sounds like plain oatmeal. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just all the same. It's very boring. It's not very interesting. And maybe it's good for you, but it's not really interesting. And it's not dangerous in any way or exciting in any way. This, I just thought about oatmeal in this sentence.
老师呢提到说看到这个句子呢就让想到那种燕麦粥那种燕麦粥是纯的就是吃起来没什么味道对你有好处吃起来是很健康很健康可是你吃久就觉得淡而无味好难吃
Yeah, when I was little, I hated plain oatmeal. As an adult, I'm okay with it. But All right, let's continue. Everyone is equal and everyone is the same.
好他就告诉你说在这个社区里面 everyone is equal 人人呢生而平等好都是很平等的 and everyone is the same 好每个人都一模一样他想说那样的话还有什么好玩的
So this was interesting. I was listening to the author Lois Lowry talk and how did she think of this book? And she said when she started to write this book, her parents were very old. They were 88, 90 years old, and they were really sick. And so mom would talk about good things in her life and bad things in her life, and she would cry at the bad things. Her father was losing his memories, and they would look at books together, and they would see a girl, and Dad would say, oh, that's Helen, that's my daughter. What happened to Helen? He didn't know what happened. He forgot. And the truth is she had died.
Oh.
And so he started to cry. And then maybe 10 minutes later, they were looking at more pictures. He said, there's Helen. What happened to Helen? And the author, Lois Lowry, had to tell him, oh, that's your daughter, Helen. She died. And he started to cry again. He forgot. So she was saying, what if there was a way to get rid of the painful memories? And that was the original idea. What if we can get rid of the bad things? But is there something bad that happens if we can do that?
哦，所以在这边的话呢，老师就跟我们讲说，当初他在创作这个作品的时候，其实那时候那个作者呢，他的爸爸妈妈都已经80、90岁了，妈妈呢常年卧病在床，所以说很多时候呢，常常都是陪着他这样，看到他很多在哭啊这样子。那爸爸的部分，因为他已经有点失智了，所以很多时候呢，你在跟他一起看相片的时候，会发现到说，诶，这是谁呀？这是你的女儿 Helen 啊，诶，那她嘞，她怎么啦？她死掉了，然后爸爸就哭得很伤心，但是过10分钟后，他就忘记这件事情，又在翻相片说，诶，这是谁呀？这是你的女儿 Helen 啊，她怎么啦？她死掉了，他又继续哭，就很伤心。后来这个作者就想说，有没有什么办法可以让这些痛苦的回忆啊、痛苦的难过的感受通通去掉，但是这样去做的时候，会不会有一些不好的事情发生？这是他当初创作这个作品最初的初衷。
That's right. Let's look at our next sentence here. In this society, all children are assigned or given their life's work at age 12.
好，接下来告诉你说，在这个社会里面呢，all children are assigned. Assign 就是被给予的意思，或者你可以把它讲成 given. 好，每个人都会赋予一项 their life's work at age 12. 在12岁的时候，他们会聚集在一起，然后呢，他们的话就会每一个人都会分配到一项这个终身要做的一个工作。
Use your pen and underline life's work. This just means your job. It's a very fancy way to say your job. You are given your job at age 12, when you turn 12. When Jonas attends the ceremony to learn his fate, he is given the unique position of receiver of memory.
好，结果到后来看到我们的主角了。When Jonas attends the ceremony， 好，还有一个特别的典礼，一个仪式，对不对？当他参加这个仪式、这个典礼，然后 to learn his fate， 看看说，诶，我会得到什么样子的这种工作啊 ？He is given the unique position of receiver of memory， 他被赋予一个叫做记忆接受人，一个非常独特的一个职位。
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we have our final paragraph. Okay, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 14 and 15. It's day 1 of the book club. We're talking about The Giver. This book is about shared memories. And this maybe sounds strange because how can you share a memory? But think about it. Some things everybody experiences at the same time. Maybe we feel differently, but we were all there. For me, an important shared memory is Joe E.E., America's 9/11 in 2001. I remember where I was. I can tell you what I was wearing. I can tell you almost the whole day and what a terrible thing it was. An example I thought of a shared memory for Taiwan is like the 9/21 earthquake.
没错，就是921大地震。因为这本书呢，主要在讲的很多是共同记忆。那老师刚刚就提到说了，对美国人来说，也许大家最共同的记忆应该是2001年9月11号911的这个事件。好，那在对台湾人来讲的话，可能是1999年的921大地震。
I wonder if shared memories are only terrible things. Like I remember Joe E.E. 9/21. Are Are there positive shared memories? Maybe like the moon landing in 1969?
没错没错，因为老师要提到说，会不会是那种大家共同记忆都是很痛苦的记忆呢？后来老师想到说，1969年的时候，我们有那个登陆月球这件事情，大家都觉得哇，我们人类史上的一个非常重要，这算是一个比较开心的共同记忆了。
Tell us in the comments, do you have any shared memories? What do you think is a shared memory in the world or maybe just Taiwan? Let us know.
没错，如果说今天你刚好想到有什么很好的共同记忆，像是台湾人的共同记忆啦，或是任何那种共同记忆的例子的话，记得在这个 YouTube 上面留言，让我们知道一下，一起分享哦。
All right, let's get into our paragraph. Jonas learns that in his community, there is one person responsible for all the memories of the time before the community adopted a system called sameness.And he will eventually become that person. What a tricky sentence.
所以你看这个句子好长好长，对不对？没关系，我们把它分段来看哦。你看这句话，他说 Jonas learns that in his community, 他知道说呢，在他社区里面 there is one person responsible for all the memories of the time before the community adopted a system called sameness. 好，我们先确定一下，他在这个社区在采取这样子的这种系统，好，这个系统叫做 sameness 同化这个系统之前呢，事实上，好 there is one person responsible for all the memories of the time before the community adopted the system. 所以在那之前的记忆呢，专门是由一个人来负责掌管的。好，这就是一个掌管社区采取同化记忆之前的那些记忆的人。好 ，and he will eventually become that person. 那他呢也会接管，也会接棒，接受他这记忆掌管人的训练，然后他会接棒这个位置。
He trains with the giver, the current receiver of memory, who tells him all kinds of secrets about the past.
好，你看后面这句话一讲就更清楚了。He trains with the giver. 我们看到这个就是我们这个小说的这个名字，对不对？ The giver 是什么呢？原来是 the current receiver of memory. 他不是变成获选为下一任的记忆接受人吗？那现任有现任的记忆接受人，就叫做 the giver. 好，这个 giver 呢会告诉他 who tells him all kinds of secrets about the past. 他会告诉他所有在这个社区采取同化之前过往的所有的记忆都会告诉他这些秘密。
Jonas' new position gives him a lot of status and responsibility. However, as Jonas receives more memories from the giver, he comes to realize that his community is not as perfect as he once thought.
所以接下来你看到后面呢，他告诉你说了 Jonas' new position, 好，他的新的这个职位呢gives him a lot of status and responsibility. 给他很多很多的地位，好，大家觉得说哇，你是记忆接受人，好酷哦。但是他也相对有很多的 responsibility 责任。However, 但是呢，话锋一转。As Jonas receives more memories from the giver, 但是这个记忆的这个传承人给他更多过往的这些记忆之后呢，他慢慢发现到 he comes to realize that. 当你说 he comes to realize something, that means he gradually realized something. 他慢慢感觉到
slowly understand.
slowly understands something. 他慢慢就感觉到说什么？好，他就发现到说 his community is not as perfect as he once thought. 他的这个社区其实没有当初他想的这么的完美。
That's right. As he once thought, just as like he did in the past. Let's continue to our final sentence here. He then decides to escape the community with a baby he saves and set out on a journey to a better society.
最后我们来看这句话，说最后发现到说完了，他等于是过往的这种记忆呢，等于是打开他的眼，让他觉醒。他发现到说哇，自己所在的社区并没有那么完美。然后 he then decides to escape the community, 决定要逃离这个虚假的社区with the baby he saves, 带着他救下来的这个小 baby。然后呢，开启了 set out on a journey to a better society, 开启了一段逃亡之旅，想办法逃到更好的一个社会。
Let's take a quick break and then come back with vocab review. Okay, friends, it is time for vocabulary for day 1 of The Giver. Our first word is a verb, to publish.
To publish 就是出版的意思。
Number 2, we have a noun, suffering.Suffering
就是受苦受难。
The verb is to suffer. 那个 ing 就去掉。
没错。
Number 3, a community.A
community 就是社区的意思哦。
不要忘记去 y 再加 ies. Number 4, diversity.Diversity
就是多元性、多样性，你也可以把它念成 diversity.
Number 5, to adopt.To
adopt 就是采用、采取什么样的系统或是措施。
Number 6 is a really nice word here, eventually.
就是最后，你也可以念成 eventually.
小心这个 tu eventually. Number 7, status.Status
就是地位的意思。
Some people do say status. Be careful of that. Number 8, to set out on a journey.
To set out on a journey 就是踏上一段旅程去什么地方。
All right, well, that is all for today, but we will be back tomorrow with day 2 of The Giver. For Enjoy English School, I am Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.